Hey everyone, Delve here. Today I'm reviewing the expansion pack for the original StarCraft, which is StarCraft Brood War. The game overall is more or less the same, but they added about 6 new units and a whole new campaign. All in all, I think that they really haven't changed too much, which isn't my favorite, but the campaign is interesting enough. I think overall it's still worth playing if you enjoyed the original StarCraft. The main thing to note here is the difficulty. As you might expect, it's there. About 2/3 of the levels are roughly as difficult as the hardest missions in the original StarCraft, and about another third are quite a bit harder, and with some missions in the middle and towards the end being exceptionally difficult. It's to the point where I wonder if they even are fair, and I do end up wondering how much playtesting they really got. The key difference, especially in the Zerg campaign, is that it's imperative you macro hatch. That's where instead of hotkeying units, you just hotkey your hatcheries and you have them consistently pump out units. Generally Hydralisks. The one that really stands out is to slay the beast, a mission that's really close to the end of the game. Most people online seem to indicate that the way you're supposed to handle the mission is by not really attacking the enemy and going right for the objective. And so I spent a whole long time trying to do it by actually attacking the enemy, clearing the bases and stuff. And I figured out you can do it pretty easily as long as you follow the exact steps of rushing like 10 Guardians and 6 or more Devourers, and then adding more on top of that. The thing is that the AI attacks are really specific. They're fixed wave attacks of specific units, and so you have to have your fleet of Guardians and Devourers before those main attack waves show up. Really specific, really difficult to figure out. Probably the playtesters played it out exactly one time the way I did and called it good. But in the end, I did find it amusing and satisfactory, and this is like the one Zerg mission that you don't macro hatch in, which is really bizarre. You can also beat it fast with Ultralisks and a drop, but I've done that in the past, but eh. So if you're having trouble with that mission, you probably have to do it that way. The next level is another standout one, and not for good reasons, because the mission puts you on a timer, and you have to destroy the Protoss base before the timer runs out, and if you beat the mission 5 minutes early, you unlock the secret level. The issue with this mission is actually very specific because there are a small number of Protoss buildings on high ground and there's no ramp up. So if you lack air units or you didn't research Overlord drop, you could be right on time and still manage to miss out on the secret level because you just didn't know about the high ground, which I find a little obnoxious. Furthermore, the secret level itself can't be accessed from the level select menu, so after this really tough mission, you can't even take a break. You have to go right into the secret mission, or you have to beat the Reckoning again. You can use cheat codes to make your units invincible, but that's really obnoxious and circuitous, so not a huge fan of that. These are sort of just gripes, but it goes to show you that they didn't really know how to end this game. Speaking of which, the plot, which I'm not that much of a fan of, it's kind of complicated. For starters, the plotline in the Protoss campaign is pretty lame, and there's too many twists and turns, which is a theme I think the whole game has an issue with. Too many betrayals and alliances and all this nonsense. Basically, the characters are a little too chummy for my taste. Too much bad guy working with good guy and stuff like that. With that being said, the Terran campaign overall is some of the best story these games have, and the cutscene at the end of that one is one of my personal favorites. The issue, of course, is that this is kind of the high point of the entire Brood War story. The Zerg campaign suffers from a lot of the same issues as the Protoss campaign, too much chumminess between characters who are hated enemies, weird side quests and missions that don't seem to be relevant to the story, that kind of stuff. And some of the worst writing I've ever seen. But also the secret mission and the ending is interesting in some ways, so it's weirdly a mixed bag. The game overall has some of the highest highs of the StarCraft story, but then also some of the lowest lows. Very weird. In the end, I think it's a good game. I think that it does a better job of introducing you to the new units than the original StarCraft did. I also think it's a game that manages to not overstay its welcome, although pretty darn close, because it's not really that long, but it's also really tough. So by the end of Brood War, you should be pretty tired of the original StarCraft, and it did push me a little here and there to really up my game, which I do appreciate. Definitely worth playing if you like the original StarCraft. Thanks for watching.